Have you ever thought about how something as simple as an office location could mean something totally different depending on where you are in the world? Well, today we're going to crack that code.
Okay, so let's set the scene. It all kicks off with this story. It's about a professor in Seattle and his friend who's visiting from all the way across the globe. So this professor, right, he is super proud of his new office. It's got this killer view of the mountains. He's showing it to his friend from Kenya, totally expecting him to be blown away. But the reaction he gets, yeah, not exactly what he was hoping for. Instead of, saying, wow, what a view, his friend just looks at him and asks, why aren't you on the top floor? See, for the professor, the view was the prize. But for his friend, the real status symbol was something completely different. And this is where those cultural wires get totally crossed. In Kenya, hierarchy and status are a huge deal. Your office location, it's a massive symbol of your importance. The top floor has nothing to do with the view. It's all about being the top dog. So this one little misunderstanding, it just peels back the curtain on this whole hidden world of unwritten rules. And if you want to understand how to do business globally, you have to be able to decode that cultural blueprint. All right, so let's dig in. What exactly is this cultural blueprint we keep talking about? Okay, so a great way to think about culture is like it's the software of the mind. It's the invisible programming that tells a whole society how to operate. And this software, this code, it's basically built on two key things: values and norms. First up, values. These are the absolute bedrock. They're the deep core beliefs a group has about what's good, right, and desirable. Think about ideas like freedom, or justice, or loyalty. Values are the fundamental why behind a culture's behavior. Okay, so if values are the why, then norms are the how. These are the actual social rules and guidelines for how to behave in any given situation. And you'll see, they come in two pretty different flavors. So how do these big, abstract ideas actually play out in real life? Let's talk about the unwritten rules that guide how we all behave. Right, so social norms basically split into two buckets: folkways and mores. Think of folkways as the kind of casual, everyday rules, stuff like dress codes or table manners. If you break a folkway, you might seem a little eccentric, maybe get a weird look. But mores? Whoa, those are the heavy hitters. They're central to how a society works. You break one of those, and you're looking at serious consequences. Let's take something like being on time, punctuality, right? In the US, it's a huge deal. Time is money. Being late to a meeting is super disrespectful. But travel to many parts of Latin America, and the vibe is different. Building the relationship is way more important than staring at the clock. So finishing a good conversation is actually a sign of respect, even if it makes you a few minutes late for your next thing. See? Same situation, totally different folkways. And then you have rituals, which are just super powerful folkways. A perfect example is exchanging business cards in Japan. It's like a carefully choreographed dance of respect. You hold the card with both hands, you bow, you take their card, and you study it carefully. You definitely don't just, glance at it and shove it in your back pocket. That would be a huge mistake. Okay, now for the mores. Remember, these are the big ones, tied directly to a society's core moral values. Here's a stark example: drinking alcohol. In a lot of Western countries, it's a totally normal social thing. But in a country like Saudi Arabia, it's a major violation of a core more, and it's actually punishable by law. So you can see how knowing the difference between a folkway and a more isn't just about avoiding an awkward moment. It could keep you out of serious trouble. All right, let's shift gears to what is maybe one of the single biggest cultural divides you'll find in business: this idea of me versus we. So in many Western societies, the individual is the star. It's all about personal achievement. Your success is your success. But in tons of other cultures, particularly non-Western ones, the group is the main character. Your identity, your status, it's all tied up in your team, your company, your family. It's the difference between saying, I am a great manager, versus saying, I'm a proud part of the team at this company. Now, this individual focus, it can be an absolute powerhouse for innovation. I mean, when you encourage people to go out and chase their own individual dreams, you get this explosion of entrepreneurship and creativity. It's a huge part of what fuels an economy like the one in the United States. Of course, there's always a flip side, right? When individual achievement is everything, company loyalty, well, it can kind of take a back seat. People are way more likely to jump ship for a better salary or a better title. This can create what they call high managerial mobility. Basically, a revolving door of managers who leave before they ever really get to know the company inside and out. Now let's look at the other side of the coin. Those group-oriented cultures have their own set of superpowers. When the group comes first, you get this incredible sense of loyalty and deep cooperation. It's that classic all-for-one, one-for-all mindset, and it's been a massive engine for the success of so many Japanese companies, for example. And the downside here? Well, that strong group focus can sometimes, suppress that spark of individual creativity. When there's a huge emphasis on keeping the group in harmony, being the person who wants to rock the boat with some crazy new idea, that can be really, really tough. Okay, so we've talked about offices and punctuality and teamwork, but so what? Why does any of this actually matter when it comes to the bottom line?
Look, it all boils down to this one critical skill: cross-cultural literacy. And let's be clear, this isn't some fluffy, soft skill. It's an absolutely essential business tool. It's the ability to walk into a situation and read the cultural room, to understand how these hidden forces affect literally everything, from negotiating a deal to managing your own team.
And again, this really isn't about memorizing a list of do's and don'ts. It's about understanding what's going on beneath the surface. The real goal here is to get the why behind the what. When you do that, you build real empathy. And that's how you avoid those costly, embarrassing mistakes, like our professor and his top floor office, and how you build truly strong, successful global relationships. So, that leaves us with this massive question for our increasingly global world. In business, do you need to be a cultural chameleon, constantly adopting wherever you go? Or are we heading towards a single, one-size-fits-all global business culture? Honestly, the jury's still out on that one. Something to think about.